What do you think when you hear the word criticism? Do you think something negative? Do you think something positive? Do you think about constructive criticism maybe? Or do you think about somebody just yelling at you, berating you, and talking down to you? What would you say your views are on criticism? I want to take us back to a little tip I gave in my long ago video when I was just a wee little creator. I'm still a wee little creator. I'm acting like I'm famous or something. You gotta fake it till you make it, right? Anyways, I want to use the game where I say a term and within 5 seconds you think of the first 3 things that come to mind, okay? That just rapidly come into your brain. So we're going to do that for criticism. It's called word association. 3, 2, 1, go.
2, 1. Bruh. Go.
And stop for Junior Delores. Okay, please put in the comments what you thought of, because I really want to know what your word associations are with the word criticism, because it's really different across the board, I've noticed. I'm going to share what I came up with. My first word I came up with was insult. So I think we can already determine I don't find criticism to be a positive term. Number 2 word I came up with is berate. It's getting worse. Number 3 I came up with mean. All right, that really just sums it up right there. So I would say that if I, number 1, insult. I think that criticism is insulting. It's degrading. It means that it is an insult to you and it is insulting to you. So to be criticized, I believe. So I have a negative connotation associated with the word criticism. I don't think there is very constructive criticism. Now, the second word, berate, same thing. You're just like harassing somebody. You're just like being very mean. I mean, third word. If you came up with like constructive, or you came up with growth. I have heard from a lot of friends and people that I've known that their house, they got a lot of criticism and they felt like it helped them grow. They felt like it helped them to shape who they were. It made them like a very strong and structured person and disciplined person. So some people regard criticism as a good thing. I know people that have said that they were grateful for their childhood where their parents were harsher on them and they were more critical of them. And they say they do well, they thrive better in a work situation where they're more critical of them. They're hard on them. But I feel like for me personally, criticism or being critical of me is just never the way to go. Tough love, no, I don't need anything tough. I need all soft things. I need everything to be very nice and cushy and soft and gentle. All things that come at me, most things I would like to be soft that come at me, that come towards me.
Let's agree to move on.
Now, let's look at the actual definition, because you know that's the second part of word association, okay? So let's look it up. So one definition of the word criticism is the expression of disapproval of someone or something based on perceived faults or mistakes. These are perceived faults, okay? Those are always dangerous, okay? So they gotta watch how you're delivering perceived faults, because your perception of somebody's faults, that could get sticky, okay? That could really hurt someone's feelings, especially if your perception a little off. Okay? And then another definition is the analysis and judgment, judgment, of the merits and faults of someone or something. Let's see one more. Express disapproval. We are disapproving of that, you know? So that's just like a little... criticism is usually negative. It's not good to hear. You're not pointing out something good about somebody. You're not telling them something good that they did, for sure. You're telling them something that you don't approve of. Now, there's just some like semantics or word choices and definition choices that are at play here that kind of have a little different of a meaning that come across here when you just choose which one you subscribe to, I guess. The way John Gottman uses criticism in his Horseman of the Apocalypse is that it is typically a negatively expressed disapproval of your partner's core character, who they are. It's on your partner, their person, who they are personality-wise, how they look, what they are doing, and what that means about them as a person, not necessarily their behavior, them. It's a core attack, which would make it inherently probably very hurtful and always very off limit. However, there's other schools of thought that have the differentiation between constructive criticism and destructive criticism. Constructive criticism is when you are giving criticism, so you're definitely pointing out something that you don't like they're doing, that you think they should improve upon, but you're offering solutions. You're doing it from a good place. You're doing it because you care. You're doing it because you want to help them, because you're genuinely coming from a place of seeing that that is bad for them and that you want them to change. So that one, that by that definition, it wouldn't be necessarily an attack on who they are as a person. You know, it could just be their behavior. But then there's destructive criticism, which would be the bad one that we're talking about with the four horsemen. Okay? So it just depends on which definition you go by, largely, is what I'm finding. Let's take a quick look at a hypothetical disagreement.
Delores. Gosh dang it, woman. What were Nana's ashes doing out in the shed?
Now you hold on just a dang minute there, Ricky.
Are you stupid? It's like you don't have a brain in that head of yours, Delores. Why don't you just go back over to Arkansas where you came from? You can't nearly live over here.
Have you lost your mind?
Don't know how to think for yourself, bruh.
Yeah, I did not put Nana's ashes out in the shed in the first place.
Gosh, what in tarnation is this? This is Nana.
You know what?
It's like you never passed the second grade, Delores.
Oh my God!
Well, as the person who has the unfortunate task of laundering your underwear, I would ask you, did you ever pass preschool when you learned to wipe?
Oh dear, wasn't ready for that.
That track you leave behind? Honey, it stinks. Worse than your attitude right now. Get on my last nerve.
Now let's see that same issue approached another way.
Well, sweetheart, I noticed that my Nana's ashes were out in the shed. I don't want Nana's ashes out in the shed, and I would never accuse you of that, but I just wanted to just run it by you again because they were in the shed. And that makes me sad. I don't feel good when my Nana's ashes in the shed, so do you think we could remember not to put them in the shed, babe? Sweetheart, love, muffin?
Why, certainly, my little honey roasted ham. I would never do such a thing. Now come get in the bath.
What you have just witnessed, my friends, is the difference between criticism and a complaint. One is a very healthy, necessary part of any romantic relationship, and will happen and will be the necessary catalyst for movement forward in any healthy relationship that you have, and is going to be inevitable between two imperfect partners, okay? However, the second one is one of the four horsemen. Could be your relationship demise, and is predictable at a 90% rate by John Gottman. Top 25, top 10 in the past 25 years. He is one of the most influential top 10 therapists of the last 25 years. Woo! That's like a mouthful. I can't, aside from the examples I gave being a complete horror story, it was scary, I'm sure you could tell which one was which. But if you can't, I will break it down for you real quickly as we get into 3 of the key differences between a complaint and criticism that makes one relationship demise and makes the other a necessary part of relationship health. The first thing that differentiates between a complaint or raising a concern and having a criticism of your partner is going to be your tone and intent. If we are complaining or raising a concern, we're going to have a calming tone. We're going to be normal, when we, like your everyday talking voice, the way you come talk to your partner on a regular time, anything you're going to talk to them about. Largely a neutral tone. You know, you're not going to come in there and be like,
I'm really upset about this. I'm really upset. We need to make a schedule for how we do the dishwasher. Let's talk about that.
You're not going to do that. You're just going to come in and talk about that, like, calmly, you know? So on the opposite end, when it is a criticism, when you go into it like that, you would likely come in there with the elevated voice, and you're going to be like,
You never do the dishwasher. You never load it. Every single night, I'm having to load it before I go to bed. When I thought you did it, you never do anything right.
You know, Okay, it's like you, I'm putting everything on you. I'm blaming you. Now, so your tone is probably going to sound pretty negative because what you're saying, you're expressing a disapproval and you are expressing it as attributing to your partner and one of their behaviors and one of their maybe characteristics of their core self. So it's going to sound negative and it's going to carry a negative tone. It's also going to have probably a negative intention. You know, your intent is not really to offer solutions in that moment. You know, you're just bossing them around. You're just putting them down. You're just angry. You're expressing anger. You're not going to be productive. That's not going to be solution seeking. That's only going to serve to make you and your partner be very upset at each other. Going to get defensive. The next video after this one is going to be the very next horseman that comes that follows this one right at its tails. Right at its tails. Right on its heels. Because it, with criticism, typically follows defensiveness. Defensiveness is another one of the four horsemen. Surprise! And they just go together. It's like, criticize, be defensive. Criticize, be defensive. It's just a losing battle. Part of intent, where there's a difference between criticism and having a complaint, voicing a concern, is that usually when you're criticizing, you're usually not offering solutions. You're usually not giving any positive mode of change. Also, when you're criticizing, you're usually flaw finding. You're finding flaws within your partner. You are putting them down. The intent usually is to push them down a bit. Probably you're a little bit upset at them personally. And personal attacks within a relationship are never going to be the mode. They're never going to be the method. They're never going to be the right way to get things done. So that is going to lead to just more problems and never going to solve the problem. Whereas voicing a concern is going to be more improvement-based, more solution-based, more problem-based, where you can join with your partner as a teammate and fight the problem and get a solution. So there's no need for criticizing. And the second marked difference between criticism and voicing a concern is its constructiveness. Okay, so like I mentioned before, on the outer layers of talking about John Gottman's theory of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, we have constructive criticism and we have destructive criticism. You know the difference already. So sometimes when we're being destructive and we're just criticizing, we're just blowing off steam. We're literally just mad and handling it in a very unhealthy way and addressing our partner in a way that puts them on the defense, and it makes it really hard to join together and solve the problem. Okay, so but when you're voicing a concern, you're going to be coming from a place of constructiveness. So you're going to be very pointed and focused with your topic. You're going to be talking about a very specific issue at hand. You're going to be addressing the problem. You're going to be offering suggestions for getting the problem out of the way. You know, it's going to be like a brainstorm. It's going to be like a powwow, like a, what do they use it? Like put your thinking cap on type. We're going to bring our thinking caps to the, I don't know, to the rug. Circle time thing. Constructiveness. Number 3 main difference between criticism and voicing a concern is the effect it's going to have on your relationship. Okay, so we know what the four horsemen predict. Okay, if you have any of the four horsemen, it is said that it can be predicted at a 90% rate of accuracy. John Gottman can predict that the relationship's going to fail if it has one of the four horsemen present and repeating. The effect it's going to have on your relationship. Criticism is kind of one of those that starts out as like it could just be a little jab, but what's that going to lead to? It's going to lead to a rebuttal, and that means defensiveness, which is the second horseman. So then 2 horsemen are at your door. The other 2 are sure to follow right behind them, okay? So you don't want that. In summary terms, the effect it has on your relationship, when you're voicing a concern, you're going to be strengthening your relationship because you're going to be joining together as 2 people. 2 people are better than one. When you put 2 minds together, you get more minds. And you're going to be better at tackling that problem. That problem's going to get out of the way. You're going to have more room for the relationship and the happy times. But if you are using criticism instead, No, all you're going to be met with is defensiveness. Eventually, that cycle, criticism, defensiveness, is going to lead to the really, really ugly, ugly, ugly horseman that we're going to talk about in the next video coming up. And I'm not even going to say it. It is a C word all the way. Literally starts with C. That's just not that C word, but it is a C word in all ways. So over time, if you continuously just have really anger-based and highly stressful arguments where full of criticism with your partner, then, you know, that's just going to wear down your bond, your relationship, and it's also going to be really miserable to be in that relationship for a long time. So, I mean, this is helpful to the relationship, again, helpful to you, helpful to your partner, helpful to the relationship. If you can have a voicing concerns focused mind when you come to your partner and be really dedicated to going against the problem and not turning on your partner and trying to fight them. And that's how you can avoid criticism. That is it for today. Really simple. If you enjoyed this video today, please don't forget to like it. Please comment. Tell me what comes to mind when you think of criticism, what your background is with criticism, how you grew up around it, what your relationship is to criticism. Please let me know. I'm very curious. This really helps me. I love exploring these topics. Let me know if there's any topics you want me to go over that I haven't gotten to, and I will get around to it. Share. Please subscribe so I can bring more of these types of videos to you. I really appreciate you. Thank you for being here. I love you, and I will see you soon. Bye. Also, if you've been talking to Delores like that often, you're going to destructively get your ass beat out of his mind. Yeah, don't ever let a partner talk to you. No one should ever be talking to their partner like that guy was. The nerve of Randy, Riley, Ralph, Richard. The nerve. First thing, your tone. Stromboli, my tone. Oh. How low can I go? Are you okay? That's about the lowest note I can do. Sounds terrible. This is extremely disturbing. What the hell, Snapchat? What the hell is your problem? Literally, what is your problem? I can't even. They should be fired for this. Absolutely. We need to raise a concern with Snapchat for this. Or we might need to just criticize them. I don't know. This is ridiculous. I'm disappointed. How are they gonna do that to Dora? What is wrong with that?